This is Mike Titino with the Safety First Home Inspection Show.
So thank you for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. Love being here. I love chopping it up with you.
Catherine, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
I'm proud of you, man. Good for you. I like it.
So this is episode number 6 of the Safety First Home Inspections podcast show. I have not one, but 2 special guests of mine. One is a real estate agent, and the other is a contractor. And what's unique about these guys is that they're actually brothers. So Alton and Joe, thank you so much for coming on my show. It's greatly appreciated. Now, first and foremost, who's the older one?
How about you guess? No, I'm the older one.
By how many years?
By a little bit under 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And growing up, did you guys have like the older brother bully mentality where, you picked on Joe, or was it kind of like you were guiding him and he was following your footsteps? Because I feel like those relationships can literally go, either way.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really, maybe I did as younger. I picked on him a little bit. Of course, we fought as kids and, I would, pick on him and stuff like that. But as of fighting and stuff like that, not really. But of course, as kids, we tussled around and things like that.
No, of course.
I would say he made me tough, right?
Sure, yeah. Absolutely.
So, I think as we started to grow a little bit older, those phases, those things started to phase out. And we have 3 sisters as well, and we're all like, one big bond. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So people may not know this, but I connected with Alton, I'd say within the last year or so, right?
Yeah.
Give or take, through Joe. And I've known Joe for, 5-6 years now?
Yes.
And what I've realized about Joe is that he's always positive, and he's always, I feel like once we met, we just clicked, and we always supported each other. And when I had my 100th home inspection, I had a dinner, and I brought Joe, obviously, because I just felt like, Joe's always been in my corner. And so how important is that just whole positive mentality? And I feel like it's very contagious, and people gravitate towards that.
I think it's everything. And to me, mindset is everything. It doesn't matter how bad life is going. It's about how you perceive life to be. I've always been a make lemonade out of lemon guy, and having the opportunity to continuously move forward, no matter what the situation is, it'll make or break you. So a positive attitude to me it's something you have to work on. I haven't always been like this. It's something that I had to work towards and actually put myself in a mindset to say, all right, listen, things are hitting the fan right now, as the old proverbial word is.
Absolutely. Sure.
It hits the fan, and it's up to you to whether decide if you're going to stand in a room with it or you're going to put an umbrella over your head and say, all right, well, it's everywhere.
Of course.
And that's just my mindset.
I totally agree. Now, both you guys are entrepreneurs. Was it always that way? Did you come from a family of entrepreneurs, or were you guys the first ones to really make the transition to, being a real estate agent and being a contractor?
No, we don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. I would say we came from a father that had dreams and aspirations, but never really acted out on them. For whatever reason, he was held back. But that's one of the things I always said, is that we're not going to make those same mistakes. He had dreams of doing numerous businesses and stuff like that, and that's one thing we said, that we're not going to restrain ourselves from being afraid to jump out there and actually make these things happen.
And did you guys make the transition at the same time, or were you a contractor first and then you decided to get your license after you saw what he was doing, or what was the time frame?
It was a collaborative effort.
Really? So both of you guys were just like...
We both got tired of the 9 to 5, the cubicle thing. I was a manager at Brinks for a while, and one day I didn't like how my manager walked in and spoke to me, and I called my brother. I said, I'm done.
Big brother. Yeah.
I'm done. He said, well, know what I got. Come on over. And we haven't looked back since.
That's awesome. So you were a contractor while you were still an employee working the 9 to 5. And
correct.
And how long have you been a contractor for?
I would say now about 7 to 8 years. at that time when Joe left his job, I was still kind of fresh in the game,
Okay.
and we grew together. We grew together, and it wasn't easy in the beginning. I was in the Carpenters Union at first.
Oh,
And that's-
really?
Yeah, I started out in the
I was
Carpenters
too.
Union. Yeah, you was?
Yeah, I was local 45.
Yeah, I was a local 290. You was in the city.
I was in the city, yeah.
Yeah, I was local 290 out in Hot Park in
Okay.
Suffolk. Yeah. And that's one of the things we said. My brother, he was like, yo, listen, we're going to come together. We're going to make this happen. And he ventured into the real estate side. I ventured into the contracting side. And we knew that we would be able to bring that together. And
Of course.
that collaborative effort would, help us to grow to where we at now.
And not only that, you guys wear another hat. Both you guys are real estate investors too.
Correct.
Exactly.
So that's even better. Where Joe would either find the property, I'm assuming, or list the property, and then once you guys actually renovate it, then you're meeting more buyers, you're meeting the neighbors, things like that. So I think that's definitely awesome.
It's sort of like how you did, Mike. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know that you were a licensed real estate agent as well.
Yes. So if I could just shed light on that for a second, I had my real estate license for about a year, and I sold a couple houses. I sold a couple houses. So technically, I should be adding that I'm a multi-million-dollar investor,
To that portfolio.
real estate agent.
You sure should.
No, but yeah,
That's what they all do, right?
yeah. I had my license for a year just to get into the business, and I feel like in my mid-20s, I bounced around doing a few things, all within the real estate industry, just to get my feet wet and learn the transaction process of a real estate deal and things like that. And then I got into wholesaling and contracting, and here I am now as a home inspector. So I definitely think people, whether your first endeavor is what you're set on, sometimes you have to find things out the hard way, things that may not work out, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I can't believe you you're one of the few that actually know that. So as a contractor, what are some valuable lessons that you've learned up to this point?
I would say get a lot of your money up front because, things happen within contracting. And another valuable lesson is take pride in your work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's going to show. It's going to show in the product and whatever it is that you're trying to, whatever dream you're trying to manifest for your customers. So if you're taking pride and real effort into your work, not just, I'm just trying to collect my money and keep it moving, I feel it'll take you a lot further. People would definitely want to hire you more because they see that you actually take pride in your work. You actually care for their home. We're going into people's home where it's like, they pay a lot of money for this. This is what they have. This is their home. They're trusting you to come into their house. So I feel that if they're trusting you to come into their home, you should be giving them your best effort in what you're doing, whatever it is, whether it's a bathroom, a kitchen, or a full renovation, basement, whatever it is.
Yeah, and on top of that, once the project's completed, when they have company over, their family, their neighbors, they're gonna walk in and say, "Who did this bathroom? Who did this kitchen?" And then I'm assuming, if you did the right job, you guys are going to get more calls. Hey, I just went to my friend's house and I saw the beautiful job you guys did. I'm actually looking to do something similar or even bigger. So that's 100%.
To tell you how true that is, we actually did a kitchen and bathroom for one of his friends. And his brother-in-law came into the house. He said, "Who did this?" And he's like, "One of my good buddies." And he's like, "All right, will he come to Connecticut?"
Yeah. Yep.
And I guess he was surprised by the answer because it was yes, we will come to Connecticut.
Wow.
And he actually put us up.
He put us up, put us in a hotel.
Get out of here.
And now he wants us to come back out there to finish his basement.
Look at that.
So,
that's awesome.
Right, absolutely.
So those are a few things you've learned as a contractor. Joe, what have you learned as a real estate agent?
That's very. I've learned so much that I almost don't remember what I've learned.
Right. Yeah.
One thing I've seen with a lot of people is they take on these 203K loans. They take on these renovation deals where they think that a lot of times they're going to walk into a property, the bank is going to pay for the rehab, and they're just going to be all fine and dandy. It does not take $50,000 to renovate a house. I'm sorry. If you think you're going to do a full gut, you're going to rip out a basement, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in the kitchen, new exterior for $50,000. you've lost your mind.
Not happening.
It's not happening. And people have not learned that it takes...
It's HGTV.
It's HGTV.
Of course, yeah.
And not everything that's cheap is good. Like we said earlier, you get what you pay for.
Of course.
And if you think that you're going to have somebody to come in, and if you do get somebody for 50 grand, I can rest assured that you will not like the outcome.
Absolutely. No, of course.
So that's one of the major things I've learned as a realtor, that set certain expectations for people.
Sure.
And over-deliver.
Of course.
Don't go in there and promise them the world. You tell them what the expectations should be, what they are, and simply exceed expectations, and people will love you every time.
Of course. And I'm sure Alton has definitely come across this, where maybe you've gotten a phone call where you have to fix someone else's work, or
All the time.
or the previous contractor took the money and ran, which I used to hear quite often. What are a few things that you'd recommend to homeowners to have in the contract to protect both parties, or to just eliminate any miscommunication on payments or work that is in the scope of the contract?
Mm-hmm. I think that, yes, of course, you structure a contract where you have everything very much detailed inside of it, where you know that you're going to get what you want. But I think further into that is knowing who you're dealing with.
Sure.
Go off of referral-based people, because if you're getting strangers in your home, you don't know any type of work that they've done before. You don't know what their real intentions are, if they have any integrity at all. You don't know these people. So I would say, of course, get into a contract where you have a binding agreement where X, Y, and Z is going to be done by a certain amount of time, or a deadline, or whatever it is. But I think it's more important to know who you're doing business with.
Sure.
Because that's, we get most of our business off referrals.
Of course, yeah.
And I think that's the major thing. That's another reason why we do what we do, and we take the care that we care, because is that we want to keep our referrals good. We got to keep our name good.
Of course. And what I've learned when I was a contractor is you legitimately have to break everything down in the contract.
Oh, yeah.
Even things that are not included, just so the client can't say, well, I thought, you were going to do this. Because what I've learned, too, is that the bigger the project, sometimes the client feels like they're giving you, how do I say this? The bigger the contract, they feel like you owe them almost.
Correct.
And then they'll start adding things in that are not in the contract. And then it's, oh, by the way, do you think you could just... And those little punch lists start turning into like
Whole
a
project.
separate project.
Just throw this up for me. It's no big deal.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and I think a way to avoid that is to keep it business.
Of course.
Because a lot of people, they become friendly and stuff like that.
Yep.
And that's where they kind of start crossing the lines. And it's like, no, we're going to keep this business. We're going to keep X, Y. This is not what I was contracted to do. So,
right.
And it's only fair for us, because we need
Absolutely.
to make our money. People think that we're making all of this money. Oh my God, I give you all this money. And
Right.
it's really not that much when it's, after you
All
pay out
said
your
and done.
guys, your materials,
Yep.
and everything else. It's really not.
I used to have a famous go-to line when things like that would happen. I would just say, all right, let me just check the contract and see if that's in the scope of work. And then if it's not, I'll say, all right, let me just write up a separate change order. And then, if you want to move forward or not. I would never move forward unless it was signed, payment was,
So you was strict on it.
Yeah, it almost turned me into an attorney. So I always just was very, go back to the contract. Like in my head, I would say, all right, let me just make sure that's in the contract or not. And then once again, I would just say, all right, it's going to be X amount. Let me know if you want to move forward or not. So if they don't move forward, it's like they had the option and they opted out.
Yeah.
So that's definitely that's what I've personally learned myself. Now, aside from business, both of you guys are very active physically. Both of you guys are in the gym and fitness. And do you feel like fitness has in some way, shape, or form took place into your business life as well, as far as working hard, being persistent, things like that?
Okay, but I feel that to answer your question, yes, it does. It's a discipline.
Yes.
You know, and it that's transferable in many kind of ways. Honestly, I feel that when I was in the gym, well, I'm guilty of neglecting the gym now. People look at me like, "Well, you lost so much weight." Like, listen, man, I've been working my tail off.
Yeah.
So I feel when I was in the gym and I was eating a little bit more healthy and stuff like that, I did have more energy. I had more drive, and I don't know if it's now because I'm getting older that I don't. It's not
hitting anymore.
It's not hitting that strong. To be able to rock out from 7 in the morning all the way to 9 o'clock at night. We're gonna get it done. Boom.
Of course.
So I think yes, it does.
Absolutely, and I could definitely say I missed the days of benching 365.
Yeah.
I'm far removed for those days,
Yeah.
but I can say when your physical life is together, when you're fit and in shape, I think it has an effect on your mental. I think it makes you mentally stronger.
100%.
Because a lot of times when you say, if you're in the gym and you're trying to get to a new record and you're saying, all right, I'm going to break this goal, you can now, as he said, transfer that energy into other aspects of your life. So when you see yourself, all right, I was only doing 10 pull-ups before. I can do 15 now. That's saying, all right, as a realtor, I knocked on 10 doors before. I could do 15 now. And it makes just everything now flow in sync because that confidence, real estate is confidence. And if you go into somebody's house and you're slouching over and you're saying, I think, or I'm not too sure, why would I hire you? If you're not sure about what you're doing or what the outcome will be or how the process goes, if you don't know what happens when that home inspection that you're going to do, right?
Thank you, Joe.
It has something in the report that says you need to address this issue. How do you present that to the homeowner? Are you going to kill the deal or are you going to make it positive as that
Of course.
being able to deliver that news? So being in shape helps you deliver your business the way you need to do it.
Of course. Yeah, that's definitely something I've learned myself as well because
You're up at 4:45 in the morning every morning.
4.
Sorry.
4 a.m.
45 minutes away.
4:45 is still early enough. 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a confidence builder. You feel good. You're gonna it's gonna radiate.
I also feel like when as someone who provides services, I feel like it's also a reflection of everything else you have going on too. Like you're self-disciplined enough within yourself, and I just feel like if you're taking care of yourself, then you're taking care of, like Joe said, every other aspect, whether it's family, business, things like that.
Correct. Very true.
And you had made a point prior about communicating with your clients, things like that. We'll start with Joe first. The importance of communication within between your clients, because in both industries, if certain things are not communicated, then things can go south very quickly.
Yeah, especially in real estate.
Yes.
Communication is important in every aspect of life to me.
Absolutely.
If me and my fiance are having a disagreement, before you walk out this house, you express to me what the problem is, and we move forward amicably.
Sure.
We don't walk around with a disdain for each other, a dislike, or you're angry, I'm angry.
Right.
And I transfer communication throughout every aspect of my life. I don't care how good the news is or how bad the news is. I'm giving it to you.
Of course.
I'm gonna give it to you, and we're gonna do our best to figure it out. That's to me what real estate is. It's no and you know this. No two transactions are the same.
Of course.
They're all unique. They're all independent. So if you can't communicate to people and deliver a message, I had an attorney, and I'm not going to say his name, but he puts things in such a way that people feel like it's the deal is dying. Yeah. And the deal's not dying, it just needs to be revived.
Sure. I know that feeling as a home inspector when I'm, disclosing some of my findings that, every house has its own issues. It's a case by case, and it's up to the buyer whether if they feel like it's worth it to move forward or not.
Correct.
I can't tell a home buyer, buy this house or don't buy this house. My job is this is what I found, whether you decide to move forward or not, but I can't have an influence on, because I feel like the influence on a home purchase is more emotional than, you know how home buyers are. They're extremely emotional. This is their biggest purchase. So I kind of have to just be like, listen, this is my report. It's up to you guys, you know, whether you want to move forward or not.
It's all emotions, if you ask me.
Definitely.
It's not like commercial real estate where it's just numbers.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
This is this, this is that, this is how, are you buying it or not?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Residential, people want to walk in a residential house and feel like it's their house. They want to feel like this is home. They want to know, all right, I walk in the door, can I raise my kids here? The initial impression of a buyer walking to your house is, you can't quantify it.
Sure.
It's that first feel. And the first thing I always tell people, make sure your house smells good. Right? Make sure it smells good. Because if I walk in your house and it smells like
or cat or dogs, yeah.
anything of that nature, the first thing I'm already, all right,
Yep.
one thumb down.
Yep.
And then cleanliness. I want to know that this house was maintained over time.
Of course.
Because cleanliness is a reflection of maintenance.
Yes.
So if your house is clean, it's a very good chance you've maintained it, not just when things go wrong, preventative maintenance. And if you're attending to your house in that aspect, it now, when transferred to me, I can be comfortable with it. I can feel good about sleeping in this house. So if we're going to go back to importance of what having these things aligned in your house or in your property, whether you, even if you're flipping a house, right? Like a lot of guys, they flip a house and they certain things we see. It's like, you know, how do
Trust me, I know.
You get away with this.
how do you get away with these things? Like the amount of negligence, because it's if the profits are not there by doing the right thing, pass on the deal.
Of course.
If you need to do things that are underhanded in order to make the deal work, just leave it.
It's not worth
Give
it.
it to the experienced investor who can do something with it. So I think I strayed far away from what the original question
No,
was.
that's fine because somebody either watching or listening to this, they're definitely going to be taking notes on things to look out for, you know, from a real estate agent standpoint. And Alton, what's some advice you can give to either future homeowners? Let's say they're looking to buy a house that needs work and they're looking for contractors. What's some advice that you can give to homeowners that would prevent them from getting burned by a contractor, let's say?
It was weird because when we started out, we pretty much got burnt by contractors. That's how we ended up.
So let's start there then. So I have a story too actually about how I got burned, but you first.
I would say, I mean, I don't want to really get into the story, but long story short is that we had a property that we were doing a deal on. We got hard money for stuff like that, and one of the parts of the deal was that we had to use them for our contracting, and we wound up paying crazy amounts of money just to get this work done. And the work came out pretty good. It was all right. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but it was way overpriced. Mm-hmm. And at that moment is that when we said, like, nah, this is never going to happen again. We're going to make sure that we know what we need to do. We're going to take things into our own hands to make sure this never happens again. But
this was before you were a contractor, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I had very minimal, skills at that time. Little things that, I used to go with my father to go,
of course,
take care of little things or whatever.
Sure.
My father wasn't a contractor or anything, but he would take his best initiative to get things done. He was a man.
Sure.
So that's where I kind of got my hands wet at, but yeah, so these guys, they came in, they did all of this work, stuff like that, and we said, now I look back like, wow, we could have did all of this stuff and it saved a whole bunch of money, but we foreseen that. We said, we're never going to let this happen again.
But you have to go through those experiences to sharpen up, to learn.
Right.
There's no other. In my opinion, sometimes you just have to learn the hard way. But the good thing about it is that you're learning by taking action. There's no book or YouTube video that can really. There's nothing better than actual hands-on experience. Whether you lose money, hopefully that wasn't your case, or just stuff hits the fan. But after all said and done, hopefully you guys successfully sold that house, but you look back like, all right, we learned, from A to Z to not do this again. And, So the next one, you guys are even better.
So
Yeah, it's kind of, we made it, we learned again.
we learned again, yeah.
Of course.
We took a hit on it on the one following that one.
Following that one. That was when we actually lost money on.
Yeah.
And that was us trying to do things. And this is now us speaking with our investor hat on. A lot of people think that, we're going to go into the Middle West of nowhere and buy something. And we're going to fix it and we're going to sell it back. And you don't factor in the cost that's really associated with going to another state and trying to develop property where you have no idea who the contractors are, no idea what the real estate agents are like. You don't know anything about these areas. You can do some basic due diligence, see what the population growth is, see what the job market's like, see what unemployment is.
Yes.
The basic numbers. But do you know what this city actually is like?
Driving through, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that's what I think we got hit on that one. Thank God we didn't lose too much money. But we did take a hit, and it was growing pains.
Yeah,
when
of
I
course.
was in real estate school, going to get my real estate salesperson license.
Okay.
Since I did recently just get my broker's license.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Big congratulations on that. I actually called you on that. I was like, I can't just text him or comment. I was like, let me personally call this guy to congratulate him on this milestone, because I know that if I hit a milestone, Joe would do the same for me any day. So
Absolutely. That's real support. And
congratulations on that.
When I tell you it's more than appreciate, it's love.
Of course,
I
yeah.
literally
of
love
course.
that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
Anytime.
I'm sorry, I had
So
a break for it.
the growing pain part about...
Correct. And he said, I won't work with an investor who's never lost his shirt before. He said, if you've never lost it before, he said, no, because you don't know what it's like to go through anything.
Of course.
Anybody can smile
Absolutely.
when it's sunshine outside.
Right.
Can you keep that smile
Yes.
when it's raining outside? And
Of course.
And ever since that moment, I said, wow, that is so true. Like it's mindset. Can you stay positive when everything is telling you to be negative?
On one of my episodes, I have Charles, who is the #1 fix and flip investor on all of Long Island. He actually sheds light.
Handsome himself.
Handsome home buyer. There's actually
Flying to save the day.
Yes, Captain Permit as well.
Captain Permit as well. His twin brother.
We actually, he broke down a scenario where he bought a house, and when all was said and done, he walked away with $1,200 after the whole renovation, and walked away with $1,200. So you guys definitely have to watch that episode too.
I
because
definitely need to.
Yeah, because people don't realize that this is a process. The people who are at the top of their game, in my opinion, they've made the most mistakes.
Absolutely.
And that's how you get at the top of your game. So with that being said, how can people watching this or listening?
Hold on, backtrack. What
Sure.
was the story you had to tell us about?
Oh, yes. I completely forgot. So, long story short, we were renovating a basement, and we gutted the whole basement, and we ran new electric, new plumbing, everything. And what ended up happening was we ran brand new PEX throughout, and yes, we ran all new plumbing throughout the basement. And for those who don't know, when you run new plumbing lines, you have to, run the water, obviously, to make sure there's no kinks or leaks before you close up the walls and everything else. Right. So, of course, we do that. No leaks. Everything's good. We close everything up. Now, mind you, this was a 3-story house. They had other older existing lines. I think they had steam. I think one of the steam lines was leaking.
Okay.
But this is after we left. This was like 3 or 4 months after the project was completely done. And they call us up and said, there's leaks in the basement. And we're telling them, our work, we ran all new lines. We did a pressure test. We ran the water. There's no way what we did is leaking. And what ended up happening is they called up their bank, and they disputed their last payment to us, which was like $4 to $5 grand.
Wow.
And they got it back. Because they blamed us and said it was us. We're like, listen, there's no way 3 or 4 months later, brand new water lines are going to start leaking out. It's impossible.
That's one thing I learned with shady customers, man, is that once you walk through their door, anything that goes wrong is on you.
Yep. And those were the clients too that every other day, by the way, do you think you could just, or how about this real quick? And then,
can you help me out with?
Yeah. And that was one of those clients. And then once everything was said and done, at that point, They didn't owe us anything. They didn't care to like build any type of rapport, and they called up their bank and they got their money back.
But I think that, just to answer your question that we originally started with, is that get with somebody experienced that knows what they're doing. Like, we met with a guy couple of months ago. We met with the guy over in Hempstead, and he was looking at that house, and you went and did the inspection for him.
I remember.
He had no idea what he was doing at all. He was like, "Yeah, I was like, what you want to renovate? Yeah, renovate. That's the name of it."
That's the word.
That's the word, yeah. And I'm looking like, wow, like you really have no idea what you're about to get yourself into. So it's like, get with somebody that knows what they're doing. Like, just like, I hear a lot of guys saying that they have mentors and stuff like that. Really know be sure in what you're doing before you jump out there, because you will get your boots smoked out there, man.
Absolutely.
And some people can't weather that storm. I think that's why a lot of people drop out of the race, because their first time is like, oh, no, I'm never doing this again.
Right.
But we don't look at it that way. We embrace those challenges. Even recently, like with COVID and stuff like that, we persevered through all of that and made sure our deals got closed and made our money.
Of course. Right. So do you guys have anything in the pipeline now? Or as far as, are you guys currently working on a house you're flipping, or are you working for an end user right now, or...
Right now, we're just doing customers right now.
Okay.
We need some homes right now.
Of course.
We came across a few deals, but the numbers didn't work. Right. And
instead of cutting corners, pass on it.
You pass on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just pass.
Because you want to give somebody we produce epic homes. So we can't just give somebody, of course. That's not what we do.
And one thing we take pride in also is no two of our homes are the same. Right, like a lot of investors, and we know that most investors say you want to keep the same material because then you can use them in every project.
Right.
That's actually opposite of what we do. I don't want two clients to have the same feel, even though it's kind of counterintuitive, where it's like you know what this product is, but it's no fun there.
It's
right?
No.
That's what gets me exciting.
Of course,
it's the new challenge and a new process and creating something new. If I'm creating the same thing every day, I get bored very easily.
Of course.
And he's the same way. We have very short attention spans, right?
Me too.
we're, as you see from this podcast already. I'm sorry. And I think creating new things, new ideas,
keeps you intrigued.
Keeps you into it, and it gives you something to challenge HGTV with.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly. And it's all about the circle you keep around you too.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure there's people that would add new ideas or things like that too.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely very important. So with that being said, I can't thank both you guys enough for being on my show. Most importantly, how can people get a hold of you guys, follow you guys? Joe, what's your handle?
All right. Joe Realty _ on Instagram, Joseph Lamont on Facebook, phone number 516-717-7518. That's 516-717-7518. Give me a call.
And Alton.
All right, Alton Lamont Jr. on Facebook. Instagram is _epic_transformations. You can call my phone, text me, 516-236-6919.
Thank you, gentlemen. Greatly appreciated as always.
It was great being here with you. I look forward to doing this again.
Yes.
Make sure we continue the greatness going.
Absolutely.
Thank you.